Hello everyone, and welcome back to Summer Heights, my new series in Planet Coaster. It's been a bit of a while since we were in the game, but it took absolutely ages to get to the stage we're at now. So in this episode, obviously we're going straight into the park, working on the entrance sort of plaza area. This footage you see here is majorly cut down. It's basically about 8 hours of work that basically went to waste because I wasn't happy with how it looked. So I took it apart, and this is more like what we come up with and the layout we stick to. So I was starting off with a big circle and it just looked wrong. So we went for this instead and stuck in the nice big carousel, the grand carousel from the vintage pack, as a centerpiece with the water running behind it, and then the wall curving round onto the second level, where we're going to have the Main Street style buildings behind it. It just took me so long to think of how I wanted to lay all this out, but it's really not that interesting to watch, hence why I didn't show you the full footage. Plus it would have made this video way too long, and I like to keep them sort of around the 30-minute mark, 35 tops really. So yeah, we do trim quite a lot out of this video, but yeah, I'm really motivated at the moment to play this game, to play this park. I'm really happy with how everything's come together here. Now that I feel I'm a lot more skilled at the game, I've been playing it for about a year now, I actually know what I'm doing. So it's not going to be rubbish like my first project. Well, it's still a learning curve really, that one. But yeah, this one I think will be a really nice park as it starts to come together. These barriers, which are meant to stop guests from walking through scenery, have become my absolute nightmare because they are basically making guests get stuck everywhere they walk now. So I think I might have to just remove them and let them walk through scenery. I think that might be the only option, because I've been fiddling about with it. This is once everything was put in place. I've been fiddling about with it and they're just getting stuck everywhere, which is annoying. So yeah, if any of you know what I can do about that without having to destroy everything and having guests walk through the middle of stuff, please comment down below, because it's really infuriating to build this whole entrance area and then just have guests walk through the middle of stuff or get completely stuck. But yeah, if it is what it is, basically. If I can't find a solution, then we'll just have to work around it a different way. But it's fine. A couple of other points to make. Obviously, I know a lot of people aren't really playing this game as much anymore, especially YouTubers. Since Planet Zoo's come out, most of the top content creators have been playing pretty much only Planet Zoo. I still prefer playing this because, like I say, I'm quite new to it. I've only just got most of the DLCs. I still haven't got all of them. So for me, it's like I'm experiencing what you guys had 2 or 3 years ago, which is fantastic. I do play Planet Zoo as well, just haven't had the motivation as much lately, although I have gone into it recently. Since time of recording this commentary, we're going to make a lot of changes in that project, but that's not what we're here to talk about now. So really just completing this lower area here with a nice Victorian style bridge. A lot of this is from the vintage pack, the Victorian style building pieces, which I think are really nice and work perfectly for this generic style entrance that we've got for the park. Quite a classic amusement park style feel in a way, but we are going to build this into a theme park. It's not just going to be an amusement park. Got an idea for the first coaster, which will be going in fairly soon. Other than that, no real plans for what's going to happen with the park, but we'll just wait and see. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to mention is the microphone and the sound, or the commentary sound quality. I do apologise because it's not that great. It's just not a very good microphone, to be honest. It's a cheap one. When I can, I'm going to try and buy a new one so that I can record these slightly more professionally, just so that at least it doesn't sound as bad. My voice still drones on a bit anyway. It's a boring voice. I can't help that. I do apologise. But yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. But hopefully I'll be able to get a new microphone at some point so that we can make the commentaries slightly better. Back to the build then. So yeah, the whole idea here, it almost feels like Venice or something, where you've got the little tiny little canal there running through underneath the bridge. But I just wanted to get an idea of the layout of this area, and I thought, well, have the water running through it, have the sort of path design patterns and stuff follow it underneath the bridge, and then at some point I'm going to make that open into some sort of lake or some sort of body of water, and we'll just see where it goes from there, really. Onto the upper level now then, placing in some fake stairs, just because I thought it'd look nice to have a third sort of level. I like doing things on different levels here, so it gives you sort of different height variations to look at as you're sort of walking around the park. And we start working on the main street, which obviously took the majority bulk of the time. I did this in several different sessions. This is 4 or 5 different full evenings at work put into this. And again, we're just going for classic Victorian style. This is sort of neoclassical, I guess, this building. I might be completely wrong saying that, but that's, when I went on our good friend Google, that's what it showed me for a neoclassical architectural style. So this building doesn't use too much colour, it just uses the basic stone textures, and the Victorian deco piece is quite heavily detailed. I really like those windows, I think they look quite nice. And yeah, just using just different pillars and various elements. I even use one of the, I think it's from the horror pack or the spooky pack, whatever it is. I use one of the wall pieces from that, sort of one of the wall decoration pieces, to give it some tiling, some sort of tiled effects, which I think fits in really nice for this building. And those, I think they're from the spooky pack as well, those lamps fit in quite nicely with the build too. As always with Planet Coaster, you can just build something like this once and then copy it across to the other side, which is very helpful. It's a very useful tool to have. Well, not a tool, but you know, it's quite a handy feature, I guess. Is that the right word? Just makes your life a bit easier when you don't have to build the whole thing again. So we skip a bit there, and the whole building is pretty much in place. Just looking for the perfect door, and that's the one we go for. Another thing, and I'll probably say this in every video, but another thing I really love about this game, and prefer it in a way to Planet Zoo, obviously there's a lot more pieces and a lot more DLCs for this, but a lot of the pieces are recolorable in this game. And I love recolorable pieces because they just give a complete variation to, they give you so much more option to, you know, re-theme stuff and use stuff for themes that they're not meant for, even just by changing the context of what theme you put it in. And yeah, just you can completely change your style of build just by changing the colour of something. I think all pieces should be recolorable. And yeah, that's something that I always struggle with a bit more in Planet Zoo. Because obviously there's a lot more DLCs out for this, you know, it's been around a lot longer. But in Planet Zoo, they don't really have that many recolorable pieces. So sometimes I work with something, I think that texture would be perfect, but it's not the right colour for what I'm going for. so I'd end up using like the same pieces over and over again, or stuck with a colour that I didn't want to go for or whatever. But don't get me wrong, it's still a fantastic game. I love the graphics in that game as well. Wish we could see some of that foliage put into Planet Coaster at some point. But obviously updates and stuff, well, DLCs and stuff for this game, I think probably come to an end now. Like I say, I'm still fairly new to it, so I'll carry on playing it until I get bored of it, I guess. But it's now that the console versions come out, I guess a lot of people will turn their attention to that. That's not something that would interest me. I don't have a console. But I do think it's a really positive move that they've, put this sort of creative game onto a console, because you don't really see that many games like this for console. And hopefully it will bring a lot more people into the world of Planet Coaster. And it's great to see that Frontier are continuing to work on these projects. So that's our sort of centerpiece building complete for the area. Well, pretty much complete. That's the facade done. The backs of these buildings will just be pretty plain because it's all going to be hidden, sort of probably a backstage area or something like that. Oh, excuse me. As and when we get round to it. So yeah, I'm not going to be focusing too much on the back. Here I'm just removing pieces to keep the piece count not too high, because obviously it's already building up, getting quite detailed, and yeah, my computer doesn't handle this game that well. When I bought it, the graphics card wasn't too bad, to be honest. One of the second or third best on the market or whatever, but now they've come out with these next gen graphics cards that are so much more powerful. So it really puts my gaming laptop at the lower end of the spectrum. And next time I buy a new computer, it will be a PC, a desktop. But that won't be for a while yet, I don't think. It's insane. Like, people have been saying, like, they're trying to get new graphics cards for their or get new computers, and they're waiting months and months for the graphics cards. I don't understand that. Is it a COVID thing? Like, is Nvidia or whatever they're called run out of like, have they furloughed their staff that work in the graphics card factories? I really don't know. I have no idea about that sort of thing. To be honest, I'd never be able to put a PC together myself. I'd get someone else to do it for me, or just buy a pre-made one or whatever. But I find that really, really odd that there's like a 3-4 month waiting list for graphics cards. But yeah, I guess things are running out these days. People have been bulk buying them because there's another lockdown. You're going to need a graphics card more than you're going to need a loo roll, because trust me, these games can get you through a lockdown. If you don't play it yourself, many hours could be spent playing on these wonderful games. So, not really talked about this building yet because I'm just rambling on about crap as usual. Going for another sort of classical Victorian style building here. It's a fake shop front, which we do build a small interior for, that fits in quite nicely with some old antique looking things, just some odds and sods that I take from the various scenery pieces. And yeah, it's quite a nice building. Obviously go for this deeper blue colour, sort of contrasts nicely to the stone building next to it. This was taken from some reference image on Google of just a pub somewhere, I think. Probably somewhere in continental Europe, I'd imagine. But yeah, it's a really nice building. Some of the bits there I cheated with a bit, like the door pieces are pre-made, which isn't something I usually use, but they fitted in perfectly for what I needed them to for this build. So just the interiors going in here then, with the wooden floor panels and just the walls there, so that it's a small shop front that you see in, and then the rest would just be backstage or just an empty shell really. I've seen like Disney parks and stuff do this sort of thing before, where they just have some fake shop fronts. Well, a good example actually is in the Wizarding World part of Universal. Yeah, obviously where they've got the little shop fronts and facades and stuff in between the bigger ones, and all the nice little details and stuff that they've got in them windows. Sort of what we went for here. I'm really getting into doing interiors now, and which is something you don't see as much done in Planet Coaster unless it's for dark rides. But it's something that I really enjoy doing now, and I'm probably going to do it quite a lot, and I'm probably going to use up loads of pieces that otherwise I wouldn't need to use and make my computer hate me. But it's, you know, I think it just really adds to a build having that decor inside the shop, and you'll see later on we go on to do the same thing with a restaurant building that goes in. So yeah, like I say, just put all the little knickknacks and stuff like lanterns and even some of the Christmas decorations in there, just recolouring them to give them a different purpose. The luggage there, just random things really. Obviously the glass windows at the front, you can't see that clearly inside unless you stop and properly add a look. But yeah, it's just nice to have that little detailing. And then the upper part of this building is very basic. Just some pillars and windows and that type of thing. In terms of what we're doing for this main street, I think it will just be these 4 buildings that we make here. We make 3 main ones and then a small toilet block. Only one of the buildings actually has a purpose, only one that the guests can actually go inside. The others are just there to look good. Again, that's a very Disney Universal style thing to do. But I think it works nicely as a backdrop that you'll see as soon as you walk into the park, just behind this carousel here. And yeah, I think it all comes together really nicely in the end. The third and final building we put in is actually a restaurant building. I do a small interior for that as well, and unfortunately that's one of the places that the guests get very stuck and start waving their arms about saying get me out of here, because they just can't navigate very well because they're idiots. But yeah, again, the building we go for completely different colours there, but still trying to keep with a similar style. It's more of a red brick building we go for there. So I'm going to let you watch the rest of the time lapse and enjoy the cinematic shots at the end without me rambling on, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.